So that's the update in the Sonya Massey case. If you want to, like I say, I'm going to give an update every day. If you want to see the update, please do not hesitate to look on my page. Day three is already up. And um, I don't know if I don't see a lot of people. It's like I don't see anybody else talking about the day-to-day breakdown. I might be wrong because I also don't, go looking for a lot of it. But a lot of people are telling me they don't see it anywhere else. I'm giving you the day-to-day breakdown because I'm tired of people following stories when they're trending, but don't come back and give you follow-up in the future. So we're going to follow this case every day, and we're going to give you. And also, all those people who are out there saying that what she did and what she didn't do, where are you all at now? Where are those people who were fighting with me about she threw hot water on him now? Because I'm looking for you all. I'm looking for you all. Now the deputy Crawley has testified. I will be looking for you all, and I will be harassing you till you block me. Just thought I put that out there. That is a thing. I will be doing that. I will be doing that. Now, um, I hope y'all got y'all snacks ready. I hope y'all got your snacks ready. Um, what's up, Patrick? Like I say, I think this is the most interesting election in the country right now. And in November, New Yorkers will go to the poll to elect their next mayor. And yeah, Zoran Mandani is him. And yeah, they're hiding from the shade. Zoran Mandani is him. This is today. They had the last mayoral debate. Of course, you have Andrew Cuomo, who was run out of office because of his allegations of inappropriate behavior. Oh, before we get into that, speaking of allegations of appropriate misinformation, I'm gonna advise you all of you all who are asking me to weigh in on what I about the DoorDash delivery woman saying that she was sexually assaulted because she came up to somebody's house to deliver DoorDash and told her to leave it at the door. And she looked in the door and some man was passed out on his couch with his pants around his ankles. Number one, that is nowhere near sexual assault. That's not, I think that's not sexual assault. My problem also is if you believe that you were this, you should have went to the police and not posted this on TikTok first. So I don't really care. People argue with me. Oh, no, she wasn't. I know reality is hard to accept. There is no way you're going to prove intent. That this man intended this to happen. You're not going to prove intent. So yeah, stop looking at people's doors on their private property. It's my suggestion. That was the crime. Crime was that she filmed him because they're public, and also I hate when people don't know law. That's one thing. I hate when people don't know law because in New York, it's called public lewdness, and it has some very specific parameters. You could not see him laying on his couch from the street. You had to be on his property to see him. And maybe it's just me. I know, probably. I don't know that. Thank you. I can ask another question, please. What did my lawyer say? So there's a trial for Sonia Massey. Yes, there is. We're in day three of the trial. Day three of the trial. We're in day three of the trial for Sonia Massey. I'll come back to that and I'll recap it because we're going to be here for a minute. 'Cause we're going to watch all of this tonight. But yeah, so don't ask me what I feel. Don't ask me what I feel about that case. I felt that way when I found out that instead of going to the police, she posted this man and his junk on TikTok. Yeah, I felt that. That's what I felt. I was like, how sexually assaulted? I know sexual assault victims. We work with them, and none of them, and they wish, they wish that was the level of sexual assault. they experience. I believe when we do that, we dilute the effect of what sexual assault is, as opposed to whatever it is that they experience. All right. So that is Day three, I had no clue who is on trial, please. Sean Grayson, the officer who shot her 3 times. The officer that shot her 3 times is on trial. Like I said, if you do y'all want me to play my recap here? Do y'all want to see the recap? Y'all, would it fit better if I just played it for you here? I can give you day three. I also have day one. Yeah, I'll play the recap here before we get this. Just remember, you all are staying with me and watching this debate. So I got you. You know me. I am there for you. If you want to see a recap, I will give you a recap of what happened today. And here we go. So, welcome to my follow up on day three of the Sean Grayson trial. Yeah, this piece of shit right here, in connection with him murdering Sonya Massey. So, we have had jury selection on day one and motions filed on day two. And today we. I don't know why. So, welcome to my follow up on day three of the
I do not
Sean
know
Grayson
why it
trial.
is doing
Yeah,
that.
this piece of shit right here, in connection with him murdering Sonya Massey. So, we have had jury selection on day one and motions filed on day two. And today we had the opening statements from both the defense and the prosecution, and 4 witnesses were called. The first witness called today was Lieutenant Eric Winston, and he is the ISP investigator that was investigating the shooting. And his most important thing that he said was that he had to change his opinion about what happened after he watched the body camera footage. The second witness called was Carolyn Barton, and she is the dispatcher that received Sonya Massey's call, her original 911 call, stating that she believed someone was outside her home. And it was at this time that they played that 911 call in the courtroom. Now, the dispatcher testified that Sonya Massey sounded calm and composed on the phone and answered all the questions except one. She said when she asked if she knew her phone number, Sonya Massey said, "I don't know all of it, but I do know someone is outside my home." Now, we're going to come back to the third witness, but the third witness they called, I felt, was the most important witness and gave the most impactful testimony, and that was Deputy Dawson Frawley. And he was Sean Grayson's partner on the night in question. And we're going to come right back to him. And the fourth witness they called for today was the retired Deputy Chief Anthony Mayfield. And he is the one who hired the piece of shit. And he wasn't cross examined by defense. And he said that Grayson had violated several police department policies in connection with the murder of Sonya Massey. He also was reiterated that Grayson had held 6 other positions prior to coming to the Sangamon Sheriff's Department. Now, I want to get back to the testimony and also what took place during his testimony of Deputy Dawson Farley, because Farley testified that Sonya Massey never said or did anything that made me think she was a threat, and that he was distraught over the fatal shooting of the 36-year-old black woman inside of her home on July the 6th, 2024. Deputy Farley also reiterated that he took a towel and placed over Sonya Massey's wounds, and that Sean Grayson would not go and retrieve an emergency kit, talking about she's gone. There's no need to. And I think the important part of this testimony was that statement. Now, also during his testimony, the jury was able to see the unredacted body cam footage from his body cam. And it's Grayson's response to while that body cam was playing that I want to highlight here. Now, at 2:09, the jury starts watching the unredacted body cam footage from Deputy Farley's body cam. And as the jury is watching, they are laser focused. At 2:12,
Grayson has yawned several times while viewing the footage. He is
Listen to
now
this.
leaning forward and looking down at his lap. At 2:15, Grayson is hunched forward, resting his chin on his clasped hands, looking at the ground and occasionally looking up. At 2:20, Grayson doesn't watch any of the footage playing after he yells at Massey to drop the pot of water. Members of the Massey family are crying while watching the footage of Deputy Farley's body cam and as he places a rag on Massey's gunshot wounds. Now, I'm going to say this. Due to the testimony of Deputy Farley and the jury's response to watching the unredacted body cam footage from his body cam, I hold out a little hope. Yeah, I hold out hope because of his testimony and the way they responded to it, but also for the way they responded to watching the unredacted body cam footage. It was not a dry eye in the jury. They were passing around Kleenex. So, this is day 3. Stay tuned tomorrow for day 4. Y'all have the day you deserve.
So I don't know why it's playing like that. I don't. I really don't. Um, we'll get back to it. But yeah, that's what transpired today on day 3. Um, that's what happened today on day 3 in connection with the trial of Sean Grayson in connection with the murder of Sonya Massey. Right. The cop is still incarcerated. They also highlighted that how he was hired at 6 different um, police stations and sheriff's departments, and some of them were overlapping, and how they didn't bring to light how his record was there. Um, I don't know why the former sheriff was there to say anything except he hired him because the defense didn't even cross-examine him. But I really have to say, once I saw that the jury was crying while watching the body cam footage, um, yeah, I feel better. I do feel better that maybe we'll get. I don't think I'm one of those people. I don't believe in justice for the dead because they're not going to. They're not going. It's not going to bring them back. I don't believe in justice for the dead. That's why I never, get me doing hashtag justice for so and so. I might do revenge for so and so. But justice would have meant that this didn't happen in the first place. We had justice for them. This is just about closure. This is about closure. This is about, is the justice system going to do what it always does when it involves black and brown victims, or and the cops, or are we going to see this man get something he deserves? Because I'm surprised he made it this far. He has colon cancer and he has a colostomy bag, and he was on. And I'm waiting for the point where we get into the defense that they're going to argue that the drugs he was on at the time had something to do with it. So there is that. I really want to get to this, but I want to talk about drug bombs also. But if we have some time, I'll either get to it tomorrow or we'll get to it after this. But we have a little while, so let's get it.
Good evening. Welcome to the final general election debate in the race for mayor of New York City. I'm Errol Lewis, political anchor here at Spectrum News New York 1, and we're coming to you live from the LaGuardia Performing Arts Center at LaGuardia Community College in Queens. Over the next 90 minutes, you're going to hear from the leading mayoral candidates about the biggest issues in New York, including the cost of living, the education crisis, and public safety. I'm joined tonight by Katie Honan of the news organization The City and Brian Lehrer of WNYC Radio and Gothamist.
Tonight's debate is brought to you by the New York City Campaign Finance Board, the city agency that administers the Public Matching Funds program. It's also sponsored by Spectrum News New York 1 WNYC Gothamist, and the news site The City, and Spectrum Noticias, and our co-sponsors, the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at CUNY, the Center for New York City and State Law at New York Law School, the Museum of the City of New York, and John Jay College of Criminal Justice. You can watch tonight's debate without a paywall on ny1.com. It is also being broadcast on NYC TV, WNYC Radio, C-SPAN, the Spectrum News YouTube page, and thecity.nyc. It's in Spanish on Spectrum Noticias and YouTube.
The candidates joining us tonight have met a fundraising threshold established by the Campaign Finance Board. The seat is currently held by Eric Adams, who has decided not to run for re-election. In alphabetical order, Andrew Cuomo is a former governor of New York, running on an independent line. Zohran Mamdani is the Democratic nominee, representing parts of Queens in the State Assembly since 2021. And Curtis Sliwa is the Republican nominee and the founder of the Guardian Angels.
Now for the rules. The rules you see on your screen right now have been agreed to by all of the candidates. Okay. Each candidate will deliver an opening statement of up to 45 seconds, and then answers to our questions will generally be limited to 60 seconds with a chance for rebuttals. Candidates will have an opportunity to ask one opponent one question in our cross-examination round. So let's begin. This will be the last time all three candidates will be together on stage. The next mayor will be sworn into office 71 days from now on January 1st, 2026. He will inherit a city with an affordability crisis, a tense relationship with the federal government, and millions of New Yorkers who very likely did not support him. Let's begin our debate with your opening statements to viewers. You have 45 seconds. The order was determined by a random drawing on live television this morning, and we'll begin with Curtis Sliwa. Good evening.
Thank you. It's us versus
Hold
them.
on just a minute.
It's us versus the insiders and the billionaires.
I don't know why.
It's us versus Cuomo. It's us versus Zohran. This is a campaign not about...
Give me 1 minute. I don't...
One question in our cross-examination round. So let's begin. This will be the last time all three candidates will be together on stage. The next mayor will be sworn into office 71 days from now on January 1st, 2026. He will inherit a city with an affordability crisis, a tense relationship with the federal government, and millions of New Yorkers who very likely did not support him. Let's begin our debate with your opening statements to viewers. You have 45 seconds. The order was determined by a random drawing on live television this morning, and we'll begin with Curtis Sliwa. Good evening.
Thank you. It's us versus them. It's us versus the insiders and the billionaires. It's us versus Cuomo. It's us versus Zohran. This is a campaign not about power. This is a campaign about you, the people. And I know many of you hardworking New Yorkers, you tell me you've been pushed aside, you've been silenced. These are the people that have all the money, all the connections. They've made their backroom deals, but we have something more important. We have you, the people. And we're not going to be silenced anymore. We're going to fight. Tonight, I want you to look at the content of my policies, to know that I've served this city for more than 50 years, the city that I love. And I'm going to share with you my vision to make New York City safer again, to make New York City more affordable again, and where everybody once again can live the American dream.
Thank you. Next is Andrew Cuomo. Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening. New York's first, thank you to the moderators. Thank you all for being here. And go Knicks, go Knicks, go Knicks. I hope we get an update on the score. New York is the greatest city on the globe. But we are at a pivotal moment. And the voters are going to have to decide in this election what candidate has the plan to save this city and what candidate can get it done, not just talk about it. My main opponent has no new ideas. He has no new plan. It's Bill de Blasio rehash, and we know how that turned out. He's never run anything, managed anything. He's never had a real job. I will hire 5,000 new police, build 500,000 new units. I will cut taxes. I will grow jobs. And I will end this hate-mongering and division that is tearing this city apart. because that's not who we are as New Yorkers. You know I can make change. You know I can make government work. I've done it before. I'll be ready on day one.
Okay, thank you. Next is Zohran Mamdani. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you to the moderators, and thank you to New Yorkers for tuning in. I know you'd rather be watching the Knicks. While there are 3 candidates on this stage, you will hear only 2 messages. My opponents, who spend more time trying to convince the other to drop out than actually proposing their own policies, will speak only of the past, because that's all that they know. I am the sole candidate running with a vision for the future of this city. Andrew Cuomo will spend much of tonight attacking me. He is a desperate man, lashing out because he knows that the one thing he's always cared about, power, is now slipping away from him. He will amplify right-wing talking points, he will share conspiracy theories, and he will do these things to make you feel that this should keep you up at night. But I've been spending the last year listening to New Yorkers, and I know what actually keeps you up. It's whether or not you can afford to live a safe and dignified life in this city. I have plans for our future. My opponents only have fear.
Thank you very much, candidates. Let's start tonight with some breaking news that happened yesterday afternoon when federal agents descended on Canal Street, arresting street vendors who have been selling counterfeit designer merchandise for as long as any of us can remember. This is the first time we've seen major federal law enforcement activity in the city outside of arrests at Immigration Court in Lower Manhattan. And some critics are now ringing an alarm bell, calling it a dangerous and unprecedented use of federal agents in New York City. Others say that the vendors were a major quality of life problem in the neighborhood that the NYPD had ignored. So the candidate, I'll ask each of you to respond to this. How should the mayor and the NYPD have handled both the presence of the street vendors and then the federal action? We'll start with you, Mr. Cuomo.
I've had a lot of dealings with President Trump. And there's only one way to deal with him. He puts his finger in your chest, and you have to put your finger right back in his chest. I've actually had this situation with ICE interfering in New York before. It was upstate New York where ICE just showed up and started to take action. And I called the president, and I went down to the White House, and I said, that doesn't work in New York. You don't send ICE in without coordinating with our police. It's not smart, it's duplicative, and it's dangerous. We don't need ICE to do quality of life crimes. We don't need them to worry about illegal vendors. That's a basic policing function for NYPD, Consumer Affairs, etc. I would have called the president and I would have said, look, you're way out of bounds, they're way out of bounds, call them back or I'm going to have the NYPD step in and stop them because this is not their jurisdiction. You're in the city of New York.
Okay, Mr. Mamdani.
ICE is a reckless entity that cares little for the law and even less for the people that they're supposed to serve. What we need to be doing here in our city is to end the chapter of collaboration between City Hall and the federal government, which we've seen under Mayor Adams. What we need to do is actually pass the street vending reform bills that have been in the city council, some of which that this mayor has actually overridden. That's an example of how we can both protect street vendors, ensure quality of life, and leave no stone unturned in delivering for the people of this city, as opposed to working with a president who is looking to declare war on those same people.
Mr. Sliwa.
Unlike both of my adversaries, I patrolled that area many times, Church and Canal. And as you said, Errol, that activity has been going on for a long time. Selling the knockoff, sometimes stolen contraband by a series of people. The local 5th precinct, they make arrests when they have obviously cause to do so, and they complain that they have to release them because of no cash bail, of which both of my adversaries are in favor of and I'm not. The feds should not have stepped into this situation. There is not communication between the local authorities and the feds. This is a matter that should have been left up to the NYPD. But we can't tolerate citizens attacking our federal law enforcement forces in the street because then that will just lead to anarchy.
Let me ask a related question. President Trump has been commenting on this race and all of you on a regular basis. He's been less than glowing when talking about each of you, especially you, Mr. Mamdani. I'd like you each to describe whatever combination of defiance, diplomacy, and cooperation you will use as mayor if President Trump continues to increase the federal government's role in the affairs of our city while also threatening to decrease funding. Start with you this time, Mr. Sliwa.
Well, both my adversaries adversaries have decided to bump chests with President Trump to prove who's more macho. You can't beat Trump. He holds most of the cards. He's already cut federal funding for Medicaid, for the SNAP program, and is threatening to cut funds for NYCHA. So if you're all of a sudden going to get adversarial, you're going to lose. And who gets hurt? The people of New York City. With Trump, it's always the art of the deal. You have to go, you have to try to negotiate, whether it's with his minions or himself. He'll want you to give in order to get a little bit. But if you immediately act like you're going to take him on, like, you know, it's going to be a one-on-one fight, we're going to lose. All the people in New York City are going to lose. You have to be able to show respect. And I think if you show respect, you'll get respect, and you'll protect the New Yorkers who are so desperately in need of federal funds. What's the good of it? They'll bump chests with Donald Trump. They won't get the money, and then they'll blame Donald Trump. I will negotiate with Donald Trump and try to get the best deal possible for our poor and indigent citizens.
I am trying not to
Mr.
narrate.
Cuomo.
I'm trying not to narrate.
Yeah, the difference on this question is I've actually lived it, and I've done it with President Trump over many years through the most difficult situation that this country has gone through, COVID plus. You're wrong. You're going to have to confront President Trump. He is hyper-aggressive, and he is going to overstep his bounds. And you are going to have to confront him. And you can beat him. I confronted him, and I have beaten him. He was going to quarantine New York during COVID, and I stopped him. He was going to cut aid to federal programs, and I stopped him. But you also want to be in a place where you can cooperate on good things, because we need federal help if we're going to save our city and rebuild our city. President Trump has to respect you. He sent the National Guard into 20 cities. City he didn't send it into? New York. Because I talked to him and I said, we don't need you here. He has said he'll take over New York if Mondami wins, and he will, because he has no respect for him. He thinks he's a kid and he's going to knock him on his tuchus. So it is a balance, but you're going to have to be adversarial when you need to, but you want to cooperate to get good things done in this city, and you need federal help.
We first just heard from the Republican candidate for mayor, and then we heard from Donald Trump's puppet himself, Andrew Cuomo. You could turn on TV any day of the week, and you will hear Donald Trump share that his pick for mayor is Andrew Cuomo. And he wants Andrew Cuomo to be the mayor, not because it will be good for New Yorkers, but because it will be good for him. Look, Donald Trump ran on 3 promises. He ran on creating the single largest deportation force in American history. He ran on going after his political enemies, and he ran on lowering the cost of living. If he wants to talk to me about the 3rd piece of that agenda, I will always be ready and willing. But if he wants to talk about how to pursue the 1st and 2nd piece of that agenda at the expense of New Yorkers, I will fight him every single step of the way.
Okay.
Short rebuttal from Mr. Cuomo.
That's not what Donald Trump said. Donald Trump does an analysis of the race. Donald Trump, I believe, wants Mondami. That is his dream, because he will use him politically all across the country, and he will take over New York City. Make no mistake. It will be President Trump and Mayor Trump, and he will come in and take over the city. I have no doubt. All he said was, his analysis is after the polls, it's a tough choice between a Democrat and a communist. And he considers Mondami a communist. He happens to be a socialist. But between a communist and a Democrat, it's a tough choice for him.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Now you want to call him a socialist.
Some important issues on the minds of New Yorkers.
Hi, candidates. Thank you for coming tonight. Yeah, and the cost of living is our next topic.
Right.
You've all cited it as a major factor, and of course, so many New Yorkers are experiencing this, especially when it comes to rising housing costs. And many New Yorkers were...
Okay, commentary and route. I was trying not to do commentary, but Amy, I had to do commentary. It's about Donald Trump because the moderators are making it about Donald Trump, and it is about Donald Trump in the background because of he inserted himself into the election by first offering Mayor Adams a job to drop out of the election, and also coordinating, and even though he doesn't want to admit its coordination with Andrew Cuomo about how he should proceed, and also Siwa about trying to get him to drop out. See, that's why I said this election in New York is a bellwether. It is a bellwether. In the Democratic Party, by Jeffries not endorsing him, Adam Schiff not endorsing Mandani, how do you not endorse the Democratic candidate in this race? How do you not? But they haven't openly endorsed him yet. AOC has. The governor knows what side her bread is buttered on, Governor Holcomb, because Mondani is going to come after the governorship eventually, right? But this is the thing. This is if the Democratic Party is going to stand on idealisms that address the narrative of what people need, or they are going to continue to just position themselves as the opposite of Donald Trump. Those are not sustainable. That's not a sustainable. I don't want to just know that you're in opposition to Donald Trump. What are you going to do in that position?
Shocked this week as a new report from the group Advocates for Children revealed that about 154,000 New York City public school students have been homeless at some point during the last year. 65,000 lived in homeless shelters. Even more were in doubled up situations with no home of their own. It's never been over 150,000 before, they tell us. And it amounts to 1 in 7 New York City kids. As mayor, how would each of you tackle this problem to help this vulnerable population? And in this round, we're going to go Mr. Mamdani, Mr. Cuomo, Mr. Sliwa. So Mr. Mamdani, you go first.
This is a stain on our city. To see this many children in our public school system be homeless, and to know that this is the 9th consecutive year that it's more than 100,000 of those children. What we need to do is ensure that next year is not the same. And we are going to do that by building the housing necessary such that New Yorkers are not priced out of this city or forced to live in shelters. And that's why my campaign is going to deliver 200,000 new affordable homes across the 5 boroughs, all while freezing the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants. Now, in the public school system, we also have a program called Every Child and Family is Known. It links a child who is living in a homeless shelter with an employee of the public school system. It also links that employee with the child's family. It's been shown to increase attendance records, self-esteem, a level of belonging in that school system. I am going to increase that pilot program to more than 200 schools, and we're going to do it because we have to deliver for these children.
I'm going to address that just a moment. I got you. I'm going to address that.
Zoran is a great actor. He missed his calling. Freeze the rent sounds great. Yeah, it affects about 25% of the number of housing units in the city of New York. It's not a new idea. Bill de Blasio did it. It turned out to be a debacle. And it does nothing for 75% of the units. And for the 25, it just postpones the increase and actually causes us to lose units because landlords took them off the market.
Jump in and ask you to address the homeless children question, and we will get to rent freeze.
Yeah, well, the answer to homeless children is you need more affordable housing. And I'm saying freeze the rent was done under de Blasio. It doesn't work. It's a canard and just a great 3-word slogan for TikTok. The way to increase availability of affordable housing is to build affordable housing. I was the HUD secretary. I did it all across the country. We have 1% vacancy rate. We're not building enough affordable housing, and you need a competent, productive government to do that. And that's what I've done across the country, across the state. Make government work. You get the supply up, the rents will come down.
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa.
I'm going to get to that too.
Okay, Mr. Mamdani,
you got to be commentary.
so you get 30 seconds.
We are in the 9th consecutive year of more than 100,000 children in the New York City public school system being homeless. That means it began when Andrew Cuomo was the governor. And what did he do? What did he do about it? He did not do anything. He spent more money on a singing water fountain at LaGuardia Airport than he did on the average cost of an affordable housing unit. That is the record that we have in display, and what we need is a change in this city, not more of the same.
Yeah, but if I may, the homeless issue, number of homeless since I left has more than doubled during his administration and the state's administration. Since I left, homeless rate has more than doubled. When I left, the vacancy rate on housing was 4.5%. It's now 1%. This man never even proposed a bill on housing or education. Never even proposed a bill.
Keep going back and forth between the two of you. Mr. Sliwa, it's your turn.
Andrew, you didn't leave. You fled from being impeached by the Democrats in the state legislature.
I don't like it, but that was priceless.
You fled. But let's get back on topic, because I'm the only candidate up here who's been into many of the over 300 Department of Homeless Services shelters, and the family shelters are unsafe for the families there. We have to make them safer. We have to bring teachers into the shelter. Many times, the mothers or the guardian have to get on bus after bus and take them to a school that's 2 or 2.5 hours away. This is a horror situation that's taking place, and we have to prioritize this, because this number of homeless children is going to grow. It takes 5 years to build affordable housing. We need to address it in the shelters itself to be able to handle it so that the teachers can come in, whether they're public school teachers, charter school teachers, and I know there are a number of parochial school teachers who love children who would volunteer their efforts to do that.
We're going to give it to Katie Honan now to ask about another aspect of affordable housing.
We're going to switch to the millions of New Yorkers who are renters, specifically those in rent-regulated apartments. There are more than 1 million New Yorkers living in these units, most of them rent-stabilized. Mr. Mamdani, you've proposed a rent freeze for these tenants. Mr. Cuomo, you don't support that, and you've proposed a new means test for having a rent-stabilized apartment. Mr. Mamdani, our question: how can you know in advance what the balance between landlord needs and tenant needs will be in future years? We've seen a lot of inflation in recent years. Haven't small landlords felt that pinch as well? And then we have other questions for the other candidates.
You know, we've seen time and again mayors use their power with the Rent Guidelines Board to hike the rent on those same more than 2 million New Yorkers. This same Rent Guidelines Board did a study that found that landlords of those units had seen their profits increase by more than 12%. Their response: hike the rent on rent-stabilized tenants who have a median household income of $60,000. I believe that tenants across our city deserve relief, and I also believe that city government can work to alleviate the pressures for landlords of those units without having to put that burden on those same tenants. It's possible to keep New Yorkers in this city and to help landlords with rising insurance costs, water bills, Con Edison, and a broken property tax system.
Thank you. Mr. Sliwa, what's your proposal for helping New Yorkers with the historically high rent burdens in either stabilized or market rate units?
Well, the first thing, we have 6,000 empty apartments in NYCHA. That is a sin. That's what the mayor can control right away. We need to move those families with children in. For those who live in rent-stabilized apartments and have their rent subsidized, Zoran Mandami, we need to make sure that the big realtors, that they have to pay a vacancy tax because they're holding off on those apartments. They're not putting them out into the marketplace because they want to flip the building. Not for the mid-sized landlords or the small landlords. They need the help. And there are a number of people in the outer boroughs. They own a home, they live on the property, they're not absentee landlords, 2, 3, 4 apartments, and they're deciding not to put them in the marketplace when somebody either leaves or dies because they have to deal with tenant-landlord court, which is an absolute nightmare for small landlords. We got to make sure it's a fair playing field so that the tenants are protected, but the landlords are protected so they're not stuck with squatters for 4, 5, or 6 years, which destroys their equity and forces them to leave.
Thank you. Mr. Cuomo, you signed a law in 2019 repealing a means test to live in a rent-stabilized apartment. What's your position now, and what changed in that?
Right.
The 2019 law was added tenant protections that had never been added before. Protections against tenant evictions. But to answer your question, you cannot, Zoran said, the tenant doesn't have to pay more rent, but we're going to cover the landlord's costs. No, you can't do both, and that's not what happened. We did freeze the rent with de Blasio. We lost units because the landlords took them off the market because you weren't covering their costs. The reason the Rent Guidelines Board went up after the freeze was because you had to make up for all the backlog of costs. And this, I'm going to freeze the rent. People think it applies to all of them. No, just the 25% of the units that are rent stabilized. And by the way, it's all BS because the mayor doesn't have the power to do it anyway. The Rent Guidelines Board does, and he doesn't control the Rent Guidelines Board. So nothing is going to happen. It's all this. It's just more political blather.
Mr. Mamdani, you can respond.
If you want a candidate for mayor who tells you everything that he cannot do, then Andrew Cuomo should be your choice. If you want a candidate for mayor who will use every tool at their disposal, including the 9 appointees at the Rent Guidelines Board, all of whom are appointed by the mayor, then I am the candidate for you.
We have to go to Errol, sir. I'm sorry, you weren't named, so I'm sorry. We're going to go to Errol talk.
Did you hear that? Right? Hold on. Let me get over. You heard that, right? That's the part I want them to get to. The rent board is appointed by whom? They're appointed by whom? The mayor. They're appointed by the mayor. And that's the part that I was like, I listened to it, and he is dead right. Fire them. Appoint someone who are going to do what you want them done. Isn't that what Trump is doing? Isn't that what Trump did? He just fired the people that were there and appointed people who would do the thing. That's what Democrats are going to have to learn. If Democrats are not willing to learn that lesson, they're going to be willing to pay the price. He is right. You're telling me what you cannot do instead of saying how do you make it a possibility. And as far as the building new residency, that's the thing. My same problem with Kamala Harris I had that I never talked about is because I knew it's not possible to build 25 million homes in this country in 4 years under government supervision. This is not going to happen. Let's be realistic. But 2.5 million will help. It's the idea that, and what Steve is talking about, the 6,000 units that they can just move women and children into. No, you can't. No, you can't. You have to understand that a lot of the rent in New York is as high as it is because landlords will not just openly put an apartment on the market to allow it to be there. They will rather hold on to them than to put them on the market. But you can't, and New York also has a spacing problem, but you can renovate some properties that will require the city to purchase those properties. But I don't think people understand when you're homeless and you have no job, it's not just the idea of getting a place to live. You have to get a place to live that has electricity and running water. That's what the complications that I don't think people understand. And then you just build somebody a house and put them in and everything is solved. What about the recurring monthly expenses of living there? We're not taking that into account, and it is a flaw in what the candidates talk about. Yes, people think it's just housing. No, it's water, it's electricity. It's like you might as well be sleeping outside in a tent with that you can start a fire in front of if you're sleeping somewhere that temperatures drop below freezing inside your home. You can't overlook that. So when I hear people talking, because you all know this problem is very close to my heart, and this is what we go through. When we were denied the ability to take over a hotel, we were going to take over the hotel, renovate it, and pay the bills for this hotel as a transition place for those who happen to be homeless. And we were denied that. So you have to take those into account in situations. And what I like about Mondani's plan when it comes to hooking up a homeless child with an adult, a teacher, or somebody like that, is it means you're hooking them up with somebody who's going to reach out to them. I've been to homeless camps. You can't put a teacher in a homeless camp. I hate to break it to you all. That doesn't work. It's not going to work. You cannot build a school in a homeless camp. You can't have one teacher out there. You and responsible for all the children in a homeless camp. It is a shame. He was right. It is a stain on our country to look at the fact that we have a city that you want to call the greatest city in the world, and you have 150,000 homeless children that are of school age in New York. And everybody's talking about, and these two are talking about what they can't do. It's like chess. In order to know, you got to make a move before you can know you made a bad move. Not making a move is not going to address the problem. I tried to do not. I was trying not to do commentary, y'all. I was.
Can I just, Eric, my name was invoked. Can I get the rebuttal?
Quickly.
Okay, quickly. The mayor doesn't appoint the Rent Guidelines Board. He's wrong. They are appointed to a term, and they're on holdovers. And when the term is over, you can appoint. But it takes a number of years to get control.
Okay, understood. Candidates, right now we are just blocks away from the site of the Long Island City rezoning plan, which has been under consideration for a decade at this point, and in its latest version would create 15,000 new apartments. That plan, like the recently passed City of Yes 5-borough rezoning, reflects a reality that hundreds of thousands of units, as many as 1 million new units, will be needed in New York City over the next 10 years. What is your plan to get new units built quickly? And the order of this will be Mr. Cuomo, then Mr. Sliwa, then Mr. Mamdani.
Yeah, Sliwa said before it takes 5 years to build affordable housing. No, it doesn't. No, it shouldn't. That's an incompetent government. You can actually get competent government and well-managed government. I built LaGuardia Airport, even though he doesn't like it, in 4 years, okay? So don't tell me it takes 5 years to build a housing unit. You have to redo HPD. You have to change the entire organizational structure. You have the zoning, but you have to start hundreds, if not thousands, of sites simultaneously. Private sector developers, partner with not-for-profits, partner with CDCs, use city-owned sites, use air rights, make a deal with the unions. But this has to be the #1 priority. The way I did 2nd Avenue Subway or the Mario Cuomo Bridge or the Kosciuszko Bridge, this project is thousands of housing developments being accelerated, expedited, facilitated at one time. And we need 500,000 units. That's the way you're going to make New York City affordable and still allow the talent to come here.
Okay, Mr. Sliwa.
I'm the only candidate here on the stage who is opposed to the City of Yes. Both my adversaries are for it. Make sure on Election Day when you turn over your ballot and you have the initiatives, you vote no. And you know how oftentimes I've been accused, how are you going to work with the Democratic-controlled city council? I, Adrian Adams, and the predominant Democrats, including many of them very liberal and progressive, believe no to yes. I have a simple plan. It takes a year. We have 25 Empire State buildings that would be empty and just have office space. It'll never be used because business doesn't operate the way it used to. Retrofit them to affordable apartments. Most are in Manhattan. The infrastructure is there. You set up a partnership with developers. It'll put men and women to work, and you'll get your affordable apartments a lot quicker and not be a burden to the outer boroughs and the residential communities because you're in the back pockets, Andrew, of the developers who wine-dined and pocket-lined you.
Let me ask you a follow-up on that, Mr. Sliwa. Do you think each elected city council member should have basically veto power over whether or not housing gets built in their district?
Absolutely. Local control. Community boards should have their say. What happened to zoning? We throw it out. Eric Adams. This City of Yes is on steroids, and he went wild taking care of his developer friends as he knew he would be one and done. I told you he was corrupt. I told you there would be chaos, and I warned you in 2021. You should have elected me mayor then.
Okay. Mr. Mamdani.
We need to build more housing all across New York City. Today, New York City builds about 4 houses for 1,000 people. Jersey City's at 7. Tokyo is at about 10. We need to do this by streamlining the processes of private sector construction across the city, by ensuring we're building more around hubs of mass transit. And we also need to ensure that the public sector is building truly affordable housing. And what I mean by truly affordable is housing that is built with the median household income in mind, which is $70,000 for a family of 4. And that's why my administration will do exactly that, scaling up programs we already had in HPD, like senior affordable rental apartments, SARA, like Ella, extremely low-level affordability. These are the kinds of programs that will deliver a city that New Yorkers can actually afford.
There was reference to the 3 housing-related charter amendment questions. I know Mr. Cuomo is on the record as saying he favors them. We just heard Mr. Sliwa say that he's against them. Where do you stand on those?
I'm appreciative that those measures will be on the ballot and that New Yorkers will be able to cast their votes for them. I know that we desperately need to build more housing in this city, and I also know that the jobs we create in the building of that housing should be good jobs as well.
What a political answer. What is your opinion, Zoran?
Yes or no?
Come on.
Yes or no?
What is your opinion? Yes or no, Zoran? Don't be a politician here.
I got it. They're pointing out what I was about to, which is that you didn't answer the question.
No, I think on the stage you can see 2 people appealing for the Republican Party's votes.
Answer the question. Answer the question for once.
My question to you was, do you support the 3 ballot amendment questions?
I have not yet taken a position on those ballot amendment questions.
Oh, what a shocker.
We will not listen.
All right.
We will not allow them
Once he
to
takes it,
play
we'll change
him.
it anyway.
We're going to move it on. We're going to move on.
Listen.
The candidates, the rhetoric on the campaign trail has become more heated in recent weeks. We have reached a point where
Commentary point. He will not allow them to box him in. And that is, see, that's what I like about it. He, like that, I haven't taken a position because he is supposed to be mayor of New York. Whatever the people's position is on those ballots is what he will have to enforce. Whatever their opinions are, that's what he will have to enforce. And the way he just walked that line was chef's kiss. That was chef's kiss. Yeah.
2 of the candidates on stage here tonight have armed security. I would like to spend a few minutes to see if we can dial down the rhetoric. Mr. Mamdani, some Jewish New Yorkers continue to say that your comments on Israel and the war in Gaza leave them feeling unsafe and concerned about their future in our city. Recently, several prominent New York rabbis took the unusual step of denouncing your candidacy, including the rabbi of the Park Avenue Synagogue in Manhattan and Rabbi Michael Miller, the longtime leader of the Jewish Community Relations Council, who is a friend to many of us. Do you have any regrets about how you've dealt with these issues, and will your longstanding views on the subject get in the way of your ability to be an effective mayor?
I look forward to being a mayor for every single person that calls this city home. Not just those who voted for me in the Democratic primary, not just those that vote for me in this general election, but all 8.5 million New Yorkers. And that includes Jewish New Yorkers who may have concerns or opposition to the positions that I've shared about Israel and Palestine. You know, just a few weeks ago, I was on the M57, the slowest bus in New York City. And as I was seated there, there was a speech therapist who was sitting next to me. She told me that she was Jewish. She said that her daughter was a huge fan, but that she was not yet decided on who she was going to vote for. And she shared to me about her fears in this city, about rising anti-Semitism. And I told her what I will tell New Yorkers today, which is that I will be the mayor who doesn't just protect Jewish New Yorkers, but also celebrates and cherishes them, who doesn't just increase funding to hate crime prevention programs by 800%, who doesn't just ensure that the NYPD are outside of synagogues and temples on the high holy days, but also actually delivers on the implementation of the Hidden Voices curriculum in our school system so that children in this city learn about the beauty and the breadth of the Jewish experience right here in the 5 boroughs.
Okay, I've got a different.
Yeah, but can I just comment on that, please? You know, not everything is a TikTok video. You're the savior of the Jewish people. You won't denounce, globalize the Intifada, which means kill Jews. There's unprecedented fear in New York. It was not several rabbis, Errol. It was 650 rabbis who signed the letter, not several.
let me ask you a related question, Mr. Cuomo. Many New Yorkers have serious grievances with Israel and the way the Israeli government under Benjamin Netanyahu has conducted the war in Gaza and expanded settlements in the West Bank. What would you say to and how would you handle New Yorkers who are in the streets, if you were mayor, protesting the actions of the Netanyahu government?
Get it.
Fine. That's your right.
Let's get it.
Protest, demonstrate, disagree. God bless America. God bless New York City. And there is no doubt that there's two sides on what's going on, and the passions are very high. That doesn't justify anti-Semitic behavior in New York. It doesn't justify having a Jewish population that feels unprotected in New York. It doesn't justify leaders who stoke the flames of hatred against Jewish people, which is what Zoran does, in my opinion.
I'll give him a chance to answer, and then we'll go to Mr. Sliwa.
You know, I've heard from Jewish New Yorkers about their fears about anti-Semitism in this city. And what they deserve is a leader who takes it seriously, who roots it out of these 5 boroughs, not one who weaponizes it as a means by which to score political points on a debate stage.
Mr. Sliwa.
Excuse me, Mr. Cuomo, it's my turn, all right? It's like 2 kids in a schoolyard.
Yeah, I heard you on the radio this morning.
Zoran, this is personal for me. I know you are under threat. The mother of my 2 youngest sons who are raised Jewish, Melinda Katz, is prosecuting this person who came up and tried to do you harm. But let me speak on behalf of my 2 sons. When they've heard some of the statements you've made, like in support of global jihad, and I hear some people out there saying the Jews, their time is due, which means the same thing. They're frightened, they're scared. They view you as the arsonist who fanned the flames of anti-Semitism. They cannot suddenly accept the fact that you're coming in like a firefighter and you're going to put out these flames. You've got a lot of explaining to do, a lot of apologizing to do. My sons are afraid. Their family, their friends, many in the Jewish community are concerned if you become mayor because they don't think when anti-Semitism rears its ugly head, which it's now doing more than ever before, that you will have the ability to come in and put out those flames of hate.
Okay, yeah, you can.
I think there is room for disagreement on many positions and many policies, but I also want to correct the record. I have never, not once, spoken in support of global jihad. That is not something that I have said, and that continues to be ascribed to me, and frankly, I think much of it has to do with the fact that I am the first Muslim candidate to be on the precipice of winning this election. Now, all the same, Curtis, I do still want to be the mayor that will keep your sons safe, that will keep every single New Yorker safe. And it is my job to not only deliver on that commitment, but also to ensure that New Yorkers feel it every single day that they live in this city.
Okay, candidates, Brian's going to take us into the next section.
Thank you, Errol. And the next section is some individual political questions, one for each of you. Let me start with you, Mr. Cuomo, then Katie will ask a question of Mr. Sliwa and Errol to Mr. Mamdani. Mr. Cuomo, the last time most New Yorkers saw you before this campaign was when you resigned your seat as governor under scandal in 2021. The most recent Quinnipiac University poll in this race shows that 54% of likely voters say you're unethical. Meanwhile, you also have strained relations with Governor Hochul, State Attorney General Letitia James, and others. What would you say right now to New Yorkers who have questions about your moral compass and concerns that you cannot effectively work with other elected officials?
Yeah, well, first, you somewhat misstated the facts, but I resigned because there was allegations made. I didn't want to waste the time and distract state government. I knew it was going to take a long time to sort out. I left, which I thought was respectful to state government. We sorted it out legally. Nothing came from any of the allegations. I was dropped from the cases. You know that. We've had this discussion 4 times, but you like to talk about the past rather than yesterday. I chose Governor Kathy Hochul. I would have no problem working with her. The legislature, I got 11 budgets passed on time. most in modern political history. They haven't gotten one done on time since I was there. So don't tell me who knows how to work with the legislature. And a mayor being able to deal with that legislature is key. Because don't kid yourself, I've watched every governor and mayor since Ed Koch. There is a tension between the city and the state. The city's arguing for its budgets, the state is saying no, and the city has been getting screwed by the state, and that has to change, and the city has to be doing better.
Thank you. Katie?
New Yorkers, you've often presented yourself as more of a well-known New York character than a serious policy expert. Your critics have said your candidacy is making it more likely that Zohran Mamdani can win the election. What do you say to them and to others who feel that while your name recognition has seen a boost, your candidacy is not helpful to New Yorkers, including those who share your views?
Number one, I have 13 campaign offices open. I'm throughout the outer boroughs. You see the excitement and energy of the working class people that I represent. I am the Republican populist candidate representing the working class, and I'm also, Katie, the candidate on the independent line, first ever, put together by my wife Nancy, who loves animals like so many. Save the animals, no-kill shelters, animal abusers go to jail. So people know that I'm not just running to protect people, which has been my life as leader of the Guardian Angels. I'm there to protect our pets and animals, because remember, Mahatma Gandhi said, a society that does not take care of its animals does not take care of its people. Homeless, emotionally disturbed, veterans. I'm out there every day tending to their needs with the Guardian Angels, doing things that the city and state should have been doing a long time ago, but neglected them and instead spent $7 billion on migrants that we don't even know. That is a disgrace. We should be there for our own people who are suffering and wallowing in desperation and despair.
Okay.
Can't listen. Can we say pick a struggle? Can we say pick a struggle? Did he just go through all that talking about Mahatma Gandhi? I get so tired of people quoting King and Gandhi. He went through all that and came back and then hated on immigrants. He talked about protecting the dogs and the cats, and then come back and shit on immigrants. How do those two things go together? Somebody make this make sense.
You have criticized the politics of the past where leaders either avoid taking a stand on a key issue or try to be all things to all people. But at times during this campaign, you've carefully avoided answering tough questions. We saw an instance just a few minutes ago when I asked about how you plan to vote on those ballot initiatives next month. We've asked whether you support a major rezoning push for part of Queens, some of which is in your district. You've been unclear about how you think the city's schools should be run, its governance structure. How is that different from politics as usual?
When it comes to our schools, I believe that every single child deserves to have an excellent public education. And we have not seen that under the stewardship of those schools with this mayoral administration. We have not seen it because we are not fully funding those schools. We are not on track to comply with the class size mandates of those schools. We are not even on track to ensure greater literacy levels across those schools, despite the strides that have been taken with NYC REITs. When it comes to rezoning, I've been very clear that I will always celebrate the addition of additional housing units across the city. I also believe that Gantry State Park and Queensbridge Park should be one contiguous park. Those are things that one can believe at the same time. And my critiques of the politics of the past is right here on the stage. You can see in Andrew Cuomo someone who had 10 years to deliver on so much of what he's spoken about. He says that taking 5 years to build affordable housing is the sign of an incompetent government. By his own words, that means he must have led an incompetent government. That is what we are seeing, because that is the record that is actually on offer.
Yeah, go ahead.
I understand my friend doesn't really understand government. The governor doesn't build housing in New York City.
Not if it's you.
No, legally, there are jurisdictions. The governor doesn't pick up trash. He doesn't run the fire department. That's what the mayor does. The mayor builds housing. The state allocates funding for localities. And I allocated more funding for housing than any governor in the history of the state of New York. All right? I did things. You have never had a job. You've never accomplished anything. There's no reason to believe you have any merit or qualification for 8.5 million lives. You don't know how to run a government. You don't know how to handle an emergency. And you've literally never proposed a bill on anything that you're now talking about in your campaign. You had the worst attendance record in the assembly. And you gave yourselves the highest raise in the United States of America. You went from $110,000 to $140,000, and then you never showed up for work, and you missed 80% of the votes. Shame on you. Shame on you.
No, it is always a pleasure to hear Andrew Cuomo create his own facts at every debate stage.
Yeah.
We just had a former governor say in his own words that the city has been getting screwed by the state. Who was leading the state? It was you.
Governor Hochul.
You were leading the state for
Governor
10 years,
Hochul.
screwing the city.
No.
You cut homelessness funding. You cut funding for the MTA.
You as a legislator.
You did all of these things, my friend.
That's the past 4 years. It's the past 4 years.
Okay, guys, I didn't want to have to do this, but you understand how this works. You can't talk over each other. Nothing works if you do that. I believe we've heard your response. I wanted to give you a quick word, and then we're going to move on.
I heard the both of them again fighting like kids in the schoolyard. Zoran, your resume could fit on a cocktail napkin, and Andrew, your failures could fill a public school library in New York City.
Okay, go ahead, Katie.
We're going to move now to public safety. And there was some breaking news from the New York Times that you, Mr. Mamdani, would ask Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch to stay on as police commissioner if you are indeed mayor. I wanted to confirm if that was true. And for Mr. Cuomo and Mr. Sliwa, would you ask the current police commissioner to stay on if you were elected? So, Mr. Mamdani, we'll start with you.
Yes, I can confirm that reporting. My administration will be relentless in its pursuit of safety and affordability for every New Yorker. And the delivery of that will require us to put together a team of the best and the brightest. Eric Adams stacked the upper echelons of the NYPD with corruption and incompetence. Commissioner Tisch took on a broken status quo, started to deliver accountability, rooting out corruption and reducing crime across the 5 boroughs. I've said time and again that my litmus test for that position will be excellence, and the alignment will be of that position. And I am confident that under a Mamdani administration, we would continue to deliver on that same mission and do so while creating the Department of Community Safety to ensure that mental health experts were the ones responding to the mental health crisis. Because safety and justice is at the cornerstone of our pursuit of public safety, and in doing so, we will also be able to deliver our agenda for affordability.
Thank you. And very briefly, quickly, Mr. Sliwa and Mr. Cuomo, would you ask Commissioner Tisch to stay on if you are elected mayor?
Yes, I would, for stability, but then again, I don't think she would serve with either Cuomo or Zoran because she has railed against no cash bail. Cuomo, the architect of no cash bail, Zoran, the apprentice of no cash bail. That's why criminals are running in the street.
And Mr. Cuomo, would you ask her to stay on?
I would ask her to stay on. I don't believe Zoran when he says he would ask her to stay on. The DSA's position, his position has been to defund, disband the police. She wouldn't take that. His current position, today's position was freeze the budget. That would cause a reduction in police. She has called for more police. I've called for more police. Mayor Adams has called for more police. So their philosophies are totally incongruous. DSA calls for eliminating misdemeanors. He wants to decriminalize prostitution. I don't think she would support any of that.
Well, we can't speak for her. She's not here. But I will ask the public safety question. And we'll start with you, Mr. Sliwa. the issues of crime and disorder on the streets. The NYPD says the crime is going down in all major categories, most major categories, but to New Yorkers, they're still concerned with disorder and their own unique perception of crime. Do you think addressing quality of life concerns helps prevent more serious crimes, and how would you deploy the city's police force to deal with those serious violent crimes and also quality of life offenses like disorderly conduct and retail theft? Mr. Slidwell.
First off, I've been in all 350 neighborhoods. I'm the only candidate that's on the subway each and every day. I've yet to hear from one New Yorker who said they feel safer either in the subways or the streets. And Eric Adams constantly heckling at us like it's the perception. No, it's the reality of crime. We need 7,000 police officers. We are badly understaffed. We need to get police officers in the subways actually patrolling the moving cars where people are most threatened and most frightened. And we need to bring back the homeless outreach unit that was disbanded when de Blasio took $1 billion out of the budget. These were men and women police officers who already had with them medical nurses and healthcare practitioners, but it was de Blasio who abolished it, and they've been talking about bringing something back ever since, but they never do it. Because I'm out there in the subways every day and I never see it. And when I'm mayor, it gets done on day one. The homeless outreach unit is put back into the NYPD.
Thank you. Mr. Mamdani.
You know, when I hear from New Yorkers of where they feel least safe, they will often tell me the subway system. And when they explain those moments to me, what they are often explaining is a mental health crisis in our city and a crisis of homelessness that has only continued to grow. And that is why, at the heart of our public safety agenda, is a groundbreaking proposal to not only reduce crime, but address these very moments of unease for New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs by creating a Department of Community Safety that will be focused on the mental health crisis, focused on homelessness, and will ensure that police officers can focus on serious crimes. Because in 2020, the response time for those officers was less than 11 minutes. Today, it's closer to 16 minutes. And that's because every year, they are now responding to 200,000 mental health calls, when those are calls that could by and large be taken by experts trained on responding to that very crisis.
Thank you. Mr. Cuomo.
Yeah. The answer is always a new government agency. It's manage the system, manage the public safety system. We know how to do this. Mayor David Dinkins did it when we had a real crime problem. Hire more police officers. Of course, you have to deal with the mentally ill. Of course, that requires mental health specialists with police, because the situation can be dangerous. But hire the 5,000 more cops, because they're all quitting, because they're getting worked too hard. You're going to have to raise the starting salary, because nobody wants to be a cop today, the way they're treated. Put 1,500 in the subways. Forget this Zoran idea of not prosecuting misdemeanors. Prosecute misdemeanors. Those are quality of life crimes. And that's very important. Yes, the subways are scary, but it's scary in their neighborhood too. Those quality of life crimes also have to be addressed.
Mr. Murray.
No matter how many times Andrew Cuomo describes it as my idea or my policy, I have never once stated that we were not going to prosecute misdemeanors. And that is what you see from the former governor, is someone who spends more time talking about the platforms of other organizations and other individuals than the one that I've actually put forward, or the one that he is supposed to be running on.
Now we'll hear from Brian for another question.
And excuse me 1 second. Can I just respond to that accusation?
Whether it's misdemeanors or felonies, no cash bail releases him back into the streets, and both of you are for no cash bail.
I want to move on. You'll get your opportunities, I think, because I want to bring up a particular crime concern, and that is violence among younger New Yorkers, specifically teenagers. My question is, what is your stance on the statewide Raise the Age law, which increased the age of adult criminal responsibility from 16 years old to 18 for most crimes? Police Commissioner Tisch says, quote, "The mentality on the street is that nothing happens to those under 18 who possess a gun." So would you support modifying Raise the Age in any way? And Mr. Mamdani, since you just announced that you would invite Commissioner Tisch to stay on, Would you go along with her on this?
I would not support changes to the state's legislation, and I would not support them because the major issue with the implementation of that legislation has been the fact that there is hundreds of millions of dollars that was supposed to be delivered alongside that law that is still languishing in Albany. And I am excited to be the next mayor of the city to finally fight for the money that this city is owed to ensure that we deliver it to our young people across the 5 boroughs.
Mr. Cuomo.
What I was referring to before is Zoran is a member of the DSA, Democratic Socialists of America. They have a charter. He gives them 3% of his salary. He has said multiple times, I am a DSA member, I pledge allegiance. They say abolish jails, defund police, don't enforce misdemeanors. Go to my website, andrewcuomo.com. It's right on the front page. Now, is he lying to the DSA? Is he lying to New Yorkers? Is he lying to everybody? Who knows? On the raise the age, I passed the law. I support the law. We were one of only 2 states that put 16 and 17-year-olds in adult prisons. It was inhumane. It was cruel and unusual, and I'm proud of that law. It's administered by local governments. Some are doing it better than others. If Zoran thought that there was money locked up in Albany, maybe he should have gone to Albany and proposed a bill to release it.
Support keeping the law. Mr. Sliwa.
Once again, the architect of Raise the Age, Governor Cuomo, the apprentice to him, Zoran. It's personal for me. My oldest son, Anthony, last October was the victim of a vicious gang assault that could have killed him. And what happened to these juveniles? Cut free, because they went to family court, not criminal court. So how can both of you look at me? I almost lost my oldest son to gang violence, and the perpetrators went to family court and got a little pat on the wrist and was sent home to do it again and again. No. We need to start charging juveniles who commit violent crime in criminal court, and I'll appoint criminal court judges who follow the law and don't just release them because of no cash bail.
A clear difference between you on that. Ms. Errol, you pick it up.
Okay, candidates, I've got...
Okay, just a moment. We're going to finish watching this, but let me log off the radio. And then we're going to finish watching this. And before we get back to that, I'm going to play something that I want you all to see. In accordance with what he was talking about who should go to jail. GCPR, thank you for joining us. We'll get back with you tomorrow. We have been listening to tonight's final debate in the New York City mayor race, and we'll get back tomorrow with an update on what's going on. Peace. All right, you all. Let me log out over here of everything, because gotta make sure I'm logged out, because you know me, I'll be half naked and still be logged in on. All right. All right. So that is that is what happened. But I want to show you all something. I don't know if you all remember, but you all remember that Curtis Seward is the founder of the Guardian Angels. And let's take a look at something that happened while he was live on the Hannity show. Let's take a listen. Just watch this. Just to refresh some of y'all's memory. Might not remember this.
You got your key open, guys.
This was on the air live.
Out of control.
There. All right. Now, Eric Adams often complains he's getting no support from the federal government to help him with the surge of Joe Biden's unvetted illegals in New York. And that could be because of the so-called border czar is a little distracted right now. According to a report, Vice President Harris has now suddenly, quote, found her footing. And she's now apparently... All right, earlier in the show with our interview with Curtis Sliwa, members of the Guardian Angels apprehended a man right there in Times Square in New York City. Curtis, we couldn't exactly see what was going on. What was happening in front of you while you were on the air with us?
Well, he had been shoplifting first. The Guardian Angels spotted him, stopped him. He resisted. And let's just say we gave him a little pain compliance. His mother back in Venezuela felt the vibrations. He's sucking concrete. The cops scraped him off the asphalt. He's on his way to jail, but they'll cut him loose. We got to take 42nd Street back, Sean. These illegals think they own this street. They think they rule the night. This is our country. If they can't abide by the rules, then we're going to kick them back from where they came.
You know, and it's amazing because I've been out with you on the streets of New York. I've been in Times Square with you. Police are very appreciative of the support you.
Now, y'all remember that? Y'all remember that from last? Now, his son was beat up after this, by the way. I just want to point that out. His son that was beat up because of gang violence was beat up after this. But let me point out something, right? Yeah, where you ain't seen the. Let's listen to this. Listen to what was discovered a few nights later. And it's nice watching
Fox
John
Nation.
This is a few nights later.
Now, before we go tonight, I want to talk about Curtis Sliwa's appearance on this show on Tuesday night when members of the Guardian Angels stopped a man and the police were called. Now, Curtis said that the man was a migrant and that he was shoplifting. Fox News has since spoken to the NYPD. Apparently, the statements made by Curtis that the man is a migrant is not true, and the man was given a summons for disorderly conduct. Now, today, Curtis Sliwa acknowledged to the Washington Post that the man has not been charged with shoplifting, and Curtis said, in part, quote, "I shouldn't have been listening to the crowd. That was my mistake. I should not have had that knee-jerk reaction." Again, on this show, we always want to